Now, people around the world today marked the World Elderly Abuse Day, a day dedicated to raising awareness about the abuse and suffering inflicted on some of our older generations. Here in Kenya, the issue of care for the elderly remains largely unaddressed, despite the fact that the elderly face an increasing number of challenges, as NTV's Anita Nkonge found out.
It is the age when one is meant to celebrate a long life well lived. But for some of our elderly here in Kenya, retirement has brought constant torment. In Riruta Kawangware area, for senior citizens, Karika, a caregiving center for the elderly, has turned into a safe haven. For 74-year-old Mbogwa Muthiora, it became a place of refuge after his relationship with some members of his family got strained. Mbogwa's problems began when his wife fell ill and died. A father of 9, 2 of his sons accused him of performing witchcraft on their sickly mother. Matters got worse as the mother was dying. Mbogwa had built 8 houses on a plot of land he had inherited from his father and distributed some of the houses to his children. However, 2 of his sons turned against him. Mbogwa says the signs had been ominous. Shaken, Mbogwa reported the incident to the police and his son was in remand for 3 weeks. Eventually, Mbogwa's brother convinced him to let his son out, but the relationship with his son has never been the same. His other children talked him out of committing suicide, and talks with his local priest helped him find peace. But for Mbogwa, his scars are still a painful reminder of his situation. Mbogwa's story is just an example of the rampant abuse of the elderly that takes place in Kenya.
Some reasons why older people are abused, mostly is property.
According to the World Health Organization, elderly abuse is defined as a single or repeated act that occurs in a relationship built on trust, which causes harm or distress to an older person. Elderly abuse can therefore take various forms, including financially, physically, psychologically, sexually, and can also be the result of intentional or unintentional neglect. Though the rights of elders are protected in the 2010 Kenyan Constitution and the National Policy for Elder Persons, there have been calls for more to be done to combat rising cases of elderly abuse and neglect in the country.
I hope the government will realize that the older people are dying even earlier than their days because of psychological torture.
For Elijah, who owns Karika and who got the half-acre piece of land from the government, the burden of carrying some elderly issues is proving too much for one person to bear.
I cannot ignore them, but then the burden keeps on coming to be bigger and bigger every now and then.
We look forward to having a National Council for Older People, an institution that brings older people together and they feel that they are represented.
The United Nations has it that abuse of the elderly is more common in countries with a rapidly aging population. With the erosion of traditional African values here in Kenya, perhaps it's time that we sat down and reflected on how best we can treat our senior citizens. Anita Nkonge, NTV.